Some tough poll numbers now recently for the Obama team, and despite a growing economy, the president just can't seem to shake these numbers.
Yeah, so that could spell trouble for Democrats up for re-election this year. Lars Larson is a syndicated radio host in Compass Media Networks, and Dan Gerstein is president of Gotham Ghostwriters. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Bet.
Okay, so let's talk about this. There are some indications that the economy is improving, albeit slowly, but it's improving. The stock market, as you know, is at record highs. New car sales are up. Home prices are up. Yet the president's poll numbers remain anemic at around 40% approval. Lars, how do you explain it?
Well, the president seems to be kind of tone deaf. In the clip you just played from him a moment ago, he said, I'm going to do things about the things that people care about, Americans care about. The poll last week said that the president's new push on income inequality, about 4% of Americans care about that. What they really care about, they say the number one item, according to last week's poll, was corruption in government and ineffective government, which the president has done nothing about. And in fact, he seems to be at the center of a lot of the corruption and ineptitude of government. Obamacare, of course, leading the list right there. So if the recession ended in June of the year that the president took office, now almost 5 years ago, and improvements for people who lost their jobs have not been coming very fast, and the president works on everything except that problem. You know, he keeps inventing new regulations that help destroy jobs in America. He makes energy more expensive. He shuts down the coal industry. He refuses to sign the Keystone XL pipeline. All of those things could help Americans in a practical way, and he's off worried about income inequality that his own polls tell him doesn't really matter.
You give Dan a lot to think about right now. Dan, I'll give you your opportunity here, but you know, you're stuck on 39%. You're stuck on 40%. And if the economy is bumping up a little bit, people don't feel it. And perhaps that's the reason why the numbers are where they are.
I think that's absolutely right, Bill. Listen, I'm no apologist for the president. I've been deeply disappointed in him, and there's no question these job approval numbers are directly related to particularly some of his short-term troubles. But I think it's driven by much bigger, broader dynamic that has real significance for both political parties. What we've seen is that the old saw about if the economy's growing, if the economy's doing well, the electorate will follow, and that the poll numbers will reflect that. We've seen a decoupling of the economy from the middle class. Macroeconomic indicators no longer are relevant in measuring how the economy works for average middle class people. And when they look at Washington and they see what happened in the wake of the crash, that the elites, Wall Street, the financial institutions, big corporations are doing really, really well, but average workers are holding firm.
That's because of government policy, you admit.
I think that has government policy, government inaction by both sides. And this is what I disagree with Lars, is he completely exempts the other half of Washington, which is Congress, from any responsibility here. And I think the average American, they look at Washington whole. They don't separate it by parties, and they say, neither party has an idea of how to actually create long-term growth and opportunity. Look, 50 years ago, Martin Luther King spoke at the March for Jobs and Freedom. And in this country, we have very few job prospects for the middle class in terms of growth, and there's very little opportunity for social mobility, true freedom. And neither party has an answer for that.
So, guys, let me give you a little, perhaps, window into how the president himself is feeling about these sagging poll numbers. Last week, he welcomed the basketball team, Miami Heat, to the White House, and he drew a little bit of an analogy with their history. Watch this.
This group has now won twice, but it's gone to the finals 3 times. And sometimes it feels like they're still fighting for a little respect. I can relate to that.
There you go, Lars. I mean, the president could argue he's won legislative victories, and he thinks he's still fighting for some respect.
You know, the thing is, he really hasn't, though. Think about what the job of the federal government is. Guard national security. Are we safer today than we were when he took over? No. Take a look at Iran. Take a look at the Middle East. Take a look at Syria. Take a look at Egypt. Take a look at our relationship with Russia. So as a coach, I think President Obama would have long ago been fired for his performance. His performance is poor.
Dan.
And if you think about it, the only reason the unemployment numbers are low is so many people have looked at the economy and said, I give up.
Dan, what do you think about him still fighting for respect, as he said?
Lars' distorted perspective is exactly why Washington is held in such low regard, is always saying is the president, it's all the president's fault. It's one side, it's one side. And I'll be the first to admit, the president has been timid and weak on the economy. He has not shown the leadership I would have liked to see. But there's been a Congress that has been obstructing him every step of the way. We have gridlock, we have dysfunction, and we have the inability to deal with some of these big issues.
Move forward, though, okay? What does this portend for Democrats trying to win office in November? Make it quick, and Lars, you get a response.
In 2010, I think we're going to see probably status quo.
2014.
We're going to see status quo. I think you're going to see the Democrats hold on to the Senate. Republicans are going to hold on to the House. We're going to have gridlock and stasis until the next presidential election.
If the drag on the economy and the numbers continue, Lars, what is the down ballot effect for Democrats?
Well, they're going to lose a lot of seats, and I think that's appropriate. And if Dan's worried about me blaming the president, listen, if the president would sign Keystone tomorrow, there's 20,000 jobs. If you would put a freeze on the crazy new regulations that have been killing the coal industry and export of coal and coal-fired power plants, those are the heartbeat of the economy. Energy and jobs come from those things. They die under federal regulation, and there is no one to blame but the president for federal regulations. The Congress can't stop federal regulations when it's a divided, House under the control of Republicans, Senate under the control of Democrats. This is Obama.
Bill, can I add one more thing?
Make it quick. We got to run. We're out of time.
Lars, again, is only telling one side of the story. We've had the most domestic energy production under President Obama than we've had in any president.
And many would say do more because it leads to jobs. We'll pick it up again next time. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Lars.